Fresh off their first conference championship since 2011, the Findlay Trojans turn their attention to making a deep postseason run, and it begins tonight as they welcome in the Olentangy Liberty Patriots. Tonight's broadcast brought to you by Dave White Chevrolet. For the number one buy with the number one guy, the place to go is on Alexis and Monroe. See all the great deals at DaveWhiteChevy.com. Welcome inside Donnell Stadium, friends. Tim Clagg alongside my partner, Ed Bellner here. And Ed, it's so great. The postseason is here. You throw away the rankings here. Two totally unknowns here. Olentangy Liberty, they come in here 3 wins, but they've been through a brutal conference schedule all season long. 8 teams that they play that are in the postseason.
And in most of those by 1 losses, and Coach Sansbury very quick to tell his team, everybody's 0-0 in week 1 of the playoffs, and they feel that they deserve to be here tonight on this field with these Findlay Trojans.
Yeah, they lost their first 4 games, but it was really the turning point against Hannah Lincoln, who went 10-0. That really kind of showed them they could hang with anybody, and they return a lot of guys at skilled positions here, as we'll get into starting lineups in a moment. After the 4-yard gain, it's 2nd and 6 here. Secondary backpedaling off. That's those linebackers here, and they're going to give it to Jake Struck. Struck had a big week last week. He picks up the first down, and he is still running over defenders all the way into Trojan territory at the 41-yard line. An angry run to start the ballgame from Jake Struck.
No surprise seeing Struck do that. Saw him on the field before this game, and he is a thick kid from the waist down. Really, really well built, what you want to see out of a tailback, and him showing the strength right there to be able to break tackles.
Last year, got injured late in the season during the postseason. Again, he was injured to start this year, but coming off of a 165-yard outing with 3 touchdowns. That play will come back, however. Will still be a little bit shy of that first down marker. However, it could have been a lot worse. It's just going to be 2nd and a short 2.
One of his receivers got a little anxious out there and got a block in the back trying to, open that lane up for him. And still they do gain positive yards for this 2nd and short situation.
Look for Struck and Ryan Shapker. Shapker has a lot of experience in the postseason. He helped carry this Olentangy Patriot team all the way to the regional final before they bowed out of the tournament. Here's the quarterback keeper off the high snap. It's Leonard high-stepping his way, hurdling over a defender, back into Trojan territory, all the way down at the 40-yard line.
Right now, this Liberty offense really going well and doing a great job of setting the edge right there for their quarterback, who was able to get around the corner, and a few missed tackles. Findlay coming out a little bit tentative in their tackling these first couple of plays, and they need to wrap up a little tighter and bring these backs to the ground. Quarterback getting way too many yards there. Great first down carry.
That's Leonard. Talking about this defense, too, that's one of the areas I don't think that gets enough credit for Coach Adams in his 3rd season. They're only giving up a little more than 13 points per game so far through 10 contests this season. First down carry goes to Struck off right tackle, and he is immediately tracked down by this Findlay defensive front here. And let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups. Tonight's starting lineups runs by Johnson and Associates Attorneys at Law, proud sponsors of high school football and BCSN. The starters, the skill positions, Andrew Leonard, the 2nd-year starter, Struck and Shepker in the backfield. Wide receivers, Nelson, Molden, Roberts, and Gage. The offensive line, McBride, Conley, Billy, Hunter, and Bailey Bird. The starting 11 for Olentangy Liberty here. Moving the ball efficiently on the ground here. The offensive line has really helped them out. Here's the play action fake. Ball tipped up in the air, and it's broken up on the coverage. It was Israel Moore. That will be his 6th pass breakup of the season.
Leonard's pass was a little bit quick there and a little too high for the receiver to be able to pull that one in.
It will set up a 3rd and 8 for the Patriots from the Findlay 38-yard line.
Findlay faithful getting behind their defense on this play. Really full stadium here tonight. Excited to see their Trojans in postseason.
This has been an offensive line in work, and finally they have it dialed in as Leonard sends Struck in motion, empty backfield, pressure coming, slings it to the marker on the far side of the field, and it's right at the marker, the line to gain here. And it looks like he just came up a little short here.
He is a little short, but you got to believe that ball sitting at the 31-yard line. They're going to go for this fourth down play, as he did a great job extending, but a little bit short, and we see the offense on the field. That was Moulton doing a great job trying to get that first down, but this offense is ready to go here on a big fourth down early in the first quarter.
And we have a big mobile quarterback like Olentangy does with Leonard, as now they're going to go here in the Wildcat. It's Struck here. He will have the first down, and he gets taken down end over end. It's C.J. Reed Tisdale coming up from the secondary.
Struck is that big back we talked about. Not surprised to see them use him in a Wildcat on a fourth and short. Little surprised, though, but, you see it more and more. They have to fire that out of the gun. You don't see quarterbacks getting under center at the high school level because it's never practiced.
Right, never practiced, and it's been efficient in the NFL. Everybody trying to copy the Eagles right now in the tush push, but I have been noticing a lot more jumbo packages down near the goal line this season in high school football.
Yeah, and we saw it there with Struck being the quarterback in that Wildcat formation.
1st and 10 for the Patriots from the Findlay 30, from the Findlay 27, and navigating ahead is Struck.
Well, Liberty right now doing what we knew they would want to do, and it's one of the keys to the game tonight for this Liberty offense. In the way they want to play defense is keep Findlay's offense off the field, and that's what they're doing right here. They want to eat up clock as they gain yardage.
Tonight's keys to the game presented by Ace Appliance. Yes, Ace now sells major appliances at aceapplianceshop.com. After the 4-yard gain from Struck, it brings up 2nd and 6 for the Patriots, just outside the red zone. Here's a little wide receiver screen, complete to Toby Gage, inching closer towards the marker here, and it will set up 3rd and another short one coming up here for Olentangy Liberty.
Appreciate the quickness there of the closing speed of this Findlay defense. You saw them get over there as soon as they recognized that it was a screen to that outside. They flew over to the ball and did not let him cross the first down marker to set up this 3rd down situation.
Liberty 1 for 1 on 3rd down conversions here so far on this drive, trying to put another one together. Keep an eye on 55, Ashton Yeager here, and there is a flag, and it is an encroachment penalty, so free 5 yards, and that will move the sticks automatically.
Well, that is the easiest way you're going to get 5 yards and a first down, and not the way that Findlay wants you to get them. Defense oftentimes so energized and excited to make that big stop, and this time just lines up in the neutral zone and not able to stop them. Just the opposite. They give them a free 5 yards.
Talented defense for the Trojans up front. The D-line, Johnson, Klotz, and Yeager. Klotz rotating in as a starter tonight. The linebackers, Tualoma, Wyrau, and Jacob Vance. Vance, a late starter, had a key injury going down against Whitmer, and he is now the man, the 3rd linebacker here. And here's the carry, and it is stuffed and brought down hard. Speaking of him, Keegan Klotz.
Well, excellent job there by the defense. Just how do you take down a big back? High-low. One guy goes low, grabs the leg. The other guy grabs him around the shoulders, and they throw him for a loss. And this is what Findlay's defense now, the field is short, and they're inside the red zone is Liberty. And so this Trojan defense has to step up.
And Coach Adams raving about Klotz says, he's got great footwork. As one of those wrestlers, we expect him to because it's so important in his other sport where he is so good. And it brings up 2nd and 11 after the 1-yard loss. Leonard dropping back, gets rid of it quickly. It's out in the flats, and they're unable to hold on. And weaving into the end zone is Jake Struck from 15 yards out. Touchdown, Olentangy Liberty.
Jake Struck able to get to the outside there when it's one-on-one, and you've got that big back who's got good footwork and quickness. He's going to be hard to bring down in a one-on-one situation. That time Findlay unable to do it, and Struck crosses the goal line for the first 6 of the game.
A drive that goes 5 minutes, 51 seconds, so taking up some time during this opening drive. Here's the PAT attempt. Plenty of power behind this kick, and it sails through the uprights. Andrew Leonard, the second-year starter, finding Jake Struck out of the backfield from 15 yards out. Olentangy Liberty on top of Findlay, 7-0. 7-0 our score here from Donnell Stadium. The visitors, Olentangy Liberty, success on their opening drive. And let's kind of dissect that drive. They converted in several crucial areas, a third down, a fourth down conversion, and then the free penalty on the encroachment.
Yeah, and the defense was starting to stiffen, and they had them at a 3rd and 2 situation. Looked like they might be able to get off the field or at least cause Liberty to settle for a field goal. Instead, the free first down, and they struck quickly right after that. But that fourth down, a 4th and 1, they go to the Wildcat. Struck showing that he can do it running and catching the ball. So far, he's the guy, number 33, they're going to have to figure out how to stop.
Guy that Liberty's going to have to try and figure out how to slow down tonight is right there, 15. And that pass snatched out of the air from Javante Hill, and Hill will be spun violently out of bounds onto the track. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for the Findlay Trojans. Of course, we know about Ryan Montgomery, the junior, breaking every record essentially here at Findlay, over 3,000 yards this season. Max Guthrie, Reese Little, Javante Hill, 71 yards, 71 receptions this season, over 1,000 yards. Austin Hasselback. Here's a soft toss that's complete to Ben Best. And they're in business here. The offensive line, Mueller, Smith, Searles, Ambrister, and Wathang, the starting offensive line for the Trojans.
And you just saw why teams should be afraid of Ryan Montgomery. Over, under. He's got coverage on that receiver, underneath by the linebacker, over by the corner, and he drops that ball in, getting it over the linebacker and right where it needed to be for a big first down.
Just shy of midfield here. Here's the carry on first down. This is Max Guthrie. Guthrie going to work. He'll pick up a couple. Leading rusher this season with over 479 rushing yards. Take a look at that defense for Liberty coming in here. They are running a 3-man front. Chapman, Viros, Donahue. In the linebackers, Carter Kuhn, Cameron Cole, Austin Stamp. They will have 5 guys in the secondary tonight. Drew Vamos, Kish, Shoemate, Mulder, and Archibald in the secondary. All day to throw, and it's bobbled and it's intercepted. Just the 6th interception of the season on the missed pass. It's Antonio Kish, and an early takeaway for Olentangy Liberty.
Well, it was a great takeaway, but Ragland just too relaxed as the ball came into his hands. He knew it was there. That is one of the deficits of having a quarterback that is so on target. Is Ragland just kind of casually put his hands up, and the ball went between them and the defender, opportunistic, and Olentangy doing what they need to early in this game.
Especially, too, it's a very difficult place. A lot of Trojan fans here. It's packed. So if they can come out, cash in here, go up 2 scores, they can take that X factor, the crowd, maybe out of it for a little bit.
The crowd in a student section that is just rocking tonight, and they want to be a part of this game. But when you see this happening, when Struck is bowling over defenders on his way downfield, the student section has got quiet.
Yeah, has a chance to pick up the spare here. You mentioned bowling. He'll bring up 2nd and 2. He has 2 pins left after the 8-yard pickup.
So Findlay has done a nice job. When they can get a body on Struck at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield, they're able to shut him down. But as soon as he gets through that first level, when the offensive line is pad to pad with the defensive line, and he gets to the linebacker level, by that point, he's really, really hard to get to the ground.
After the 8-yard gain, here's that little wide receiver screen, but there are a ton of flags, 2 in total, and it's a false start against Liberty to push him back 5 yards and bring up 2nd and 7.
That false start was on the entire offense.
Yeah,
the center just didn't get the ball snapped at the right time, so they'll move back 5 and still 2nd down, but this is an opportunity for Findlay's defense to find a way to stiffen.
Of course, they've seen great running backs in the NLL Buckeye division all season long. Certainly been battle-tested with a record of 8-2 coming in to the postseason. Leonard, gets out of trouble here, makes 2 nice cuts to get it all the way back to the 41-yard line.
Well, that play started to break down right away. It was an RPO, so he had that option to run, but he was going to flip it out to Struck in the flat, and he saw the safety come flying up, and so he made the right decision by pulling the ball down, tucks it in, and goes upfield, but now leaves them with a 3rd and 3 situation. Findlay's got to find a way to get off the field.
Got it out to the 39, so they need the line to gain here is their own 42-yard line. Leonard, calm, quick release, and it's caught on time by Struck again. And he completes on the 3rd and 3. He was matched up with the linebacker. That was Luke Wyrau. Wyrau, the team's leading tackler with 79 tackles this season.
Wyrau in position, but Leonard just putting the ball right where it needed to be, put it on a dime, and he was able to get his shoulders upfield right away, and they convert for another first down.
And Leonard, too, his accuracy has been kind of rocky at times this season. 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He has been on point so far with his delivery.
So far tonight, he has been.
Just shy of midfield from the 48. And they will cross midfield here over into Trojan territory.
Again, though, you see there when you get a body on Struck quickly, he's not able to get going, and a nice job there by this defense. You want to get this offense behind the chains, although we have seen him convert a couple of big ones, but you got to keep them playing from behind and shorten their playbook.
And just remember, Findlay just ran a couple of plays. It was that big 35-yard gain, and then the next play, they had the run and then the interception. This has been an opening quarter that has been dominated in time of possession by Olentangy Liberty.
Exactly what they wanted to do coming out here. So far, they've controlled this game.
Findlay brought some pressure here. A hole open for Struck. Has a blocker in front of him, and he will score. Taking it all the way to the house, a 46-yard touchdown, and he got a great block by his wide receiver out in space.
He did, and, he did it on his own. He got up through the line of scrimmage, was able to push his way out, but about 12 yards, you noticed that down the field, he got an incredible block by his wide receiver. It was enough to create the line. There were still defenders around, and Struck looked like he knew he wasn't maybe the fastest guy on the field, almost started looking for somebody to hit, but then he was able to cross the goal line.
And he did. He decelerated for just a quick second to allow that wide receiver to get back out in front. And they're able to capitalize points off the turnover, the interception. They make the most of it. 46-yard rushing score from Jake Struck has Liberty out in front of Findlay, 14-0. 14-0. The visitors, Olentangy Liberty Patriots, leading the Findlay Trojans as they come out for their second possession of this first quarter. First one just 3 plays before the interception, and Olentangy driving down the field. They capped it off with a 46-yard rushing score from Jake Struck. And, we mentioned this was a legit 3-win team here. There's a lot of conversation with the expanded postseason that there's a lot of teams that maybe don't deserve to be in the playoffs. This is not the case here so far tonight.
No, it's not. You look at this and you could think on paper that it's going to be a snoozer, but Olentangy and, Coach Sansbury told us they were continuing to gain momentum and belief throughout the thing. And we see a drop ball here. Findlay not coming out and playing crisp.
2 big drops here, and it'll set up second and 4. That's a drop by Guthrie. Guthrie, one of 4 wide receivers for the Trojans that have over 30 receptions this season. So there's plenty of options for Ryan Montgomery, the 3-year starter. Montgomery, so much size. He also has a lot of speed, and he can pick up first downs with his legs. Here's the play action fake pressure coming from the edge. Here's a completion to Javonte Hill as he gets close to the first down marker.
Hill looked like he paused there. He wanted to make sure where the defense was, looking to break something big, and was smart enough to realize he had not crossed the first down marker, so he did get those yards he needed. instead of worrying about the big breakaway. You like that he's looking for the yards after catch, though.
Hill missed the entire second half of 2022 with an injury. Here's a long, high throw across the field, complete to Austin Hasselback. Hasselback will be pushed out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Another first down for the Findlay Trojans.
Yeah, you saw there, Drew Vamos is just kind of waited on the receiver to catch the ball. It looked like that ball kind of, it got out there, but kind of floated. It was a soft throw, and Vamos wait until.
Gonna let Hill do the rest here. Hill using his speed. Oh, my, and a pummeling hit right at the sideline. That was a huge hit by Austin Stamp, the middle linebacker.
He put a stamp on him for sure. You just saw him come off of his feet, you're glad to see Hill jump up and get back into the huddle, but he took a shot on that one.
Here's the play-action fake. That pass is tipped at the line of scrimmage. 3 first downs on this drive for the Findlay Trojans.
Yeah, and that time we saw Rylan Williams getting pressure on Montgomery early there, and Montgomery getting that off, but it was tipped and falls to the ground, so they're dealing with a 2nd and 10 now.
And look at the respect. This secondary is giving this wide receiving core on your screen about 7 to 8 yards here as they go back to Hasselback. Hasselback across the 30, has some daylight, and he will step out of bounds aggressively inside the red zone all the way at the Patriots' 19-yard line.
You mentioned that respect, and they've been going 5 wide these last few plays. No back in the backfield, so they know it's a pass. But the defense just giving those receivers that cushion, you can see why. These guys earn that respect.
They're so good when they go in this up-tempo offense. Here's the play-action fake. Montgomery rolling back to his right. He will get a block here. Has all kinds of time. Pump fakes, and now he runs the ball. All kinds of room, and he will slide safely down inside the 10-yard line. And that's what Ryan Montgomery can do. We were talking about the speed and the size and the patience to let things develop.
He is the epitome of why top 5 teams are looking across the country at this young man. And you saw it right there. Most quarterbacks are either throwing that out of bounds or taking a sack, not Ryan Montgomery.
1st and 10 from the 10-yard line. Slant over the middle. Touchdown to Javonte Hill. For the 17th time this season, he hooks up with Ryan Montgomery.
Javonte Hill ran that slant so cleanly that you just saw the defender actually slip as he was trying to make a cut and get in there. It wouldn't have mattered if he was on his feet. Hill had that inside edge on him. Ryan Montgomery puts it on the money. They put 6 on the board.
You hear it all the time, the old saying, speed kills. It certainly killed on that play that leads to a touchdown here as Sprague Hasselback on for the PAT attempt here, and it carries through. Findlay wastes no time marching down the field. A 10-yard receiving touchdown, 17th of the season for Javonte Hill. And Findlay answers right back. Here's the kickoff after the Findlay Trojan touchdown here. High stepping out to the 40-yard line on the return back for the Patriots is Evan Nelson. And Findlay's been accustomed this season getting off to quick starts. Through 10 weeks, they've outscored their opponents 129 to 42 in the opening quarter.
And so when you do that, it's, you start to control and dictate what you want to do. So playing from behind early in this one, you saw that they have the ability to do that. The question is, can this defense stop Liberty's offense? They haven't been able to the first 2 drives.
See what adjustments they can make here, that they can try and stop this ground attack that's been led by Jake Struck so far. He gets the carry on first down, cuts back middle, and they wrap him up high. It is Isaac Tualoma, his 83rd tackle of the season.
Tualoma being able to get his arms wrapped around Struck there and stop his forward progress after a gain of 2. So Findlay's defense, defensive line's got to continue to get that penetration so that they can disrupt what's going on in the backfield, while the secondary, they got to stay in position because Leonard has shown he can distribute the ball well. And as you pointed out, when he's doing it well, he can be very accurate.
They will elect to let the time expire in the opening quarter. The Olentangy Liberty Patriots leading Findlay 14-0. The big touchdown run from Jake Struck. 46-yard touchdown has them on top by 7 as we head to the second quarter on BCSN. Leonard, time expiring here. Ooh, and there's a big hit close to the sidelines from Tualoma.
Seen a couple big hits over there on that sideline. One by Liberty and now one by Findlay. And the officials doing a good job of, letting them play aggressively. This is playoff football. And, you see that and automatically, get a little gun shy. But love that they're recognizing it's inbounds. Let these guys play.
There's some late conversation. However, they did call a hold against the defense.
So they must have seen in the back end of that one of the receivers trying to go out for a pass, which is why Leonard didn't have an open receiver, as he got grabbed early. We didn't see it, but the official's right on that, and so ball's going to now come to rest at the 50-yard line with a fresh set of downs.
Those are the costly mistakes, the penalties that have led to first downs, especially during that last drive where the interception they converted on, they had 3rd and 1 in the penalty, the encroachment, extended that drive.
Finlay recognizing that they don't have space to make a lot of errors out here, that they need to, be efficient.
1st and 10, high snap. Here's the pitch. It's to Struck. Struck spinning out of harm's way, but it just slows him down, and the run is derailed. Regal, Klotz, Wyrau, and a couple other Findlay Trojan defenders stopping the run.
Good thing they got back there. They had Struck thrown for what would have been about a 3-yard loss. Instead, he gains about 5 off of that and is able to get it to a 2nd and 8. So Findlay not hurt as badly as they could have been by the defense getting quick penetration.
How about the opening quarter from Jake Struck? 99 yards on 10 carries.
That's a 9.9 average. Yeah, I would keep handing that guy the rock as well.
Here's the reverse. This is the Struck. Struck has some room in front here. And a great recovery by Wyrau. Wyrau is such a tremendous defender. A lot of family tradition here at Findlay High School. His brother Sam playing down the road. His dad, the athletic director, Nate, he played at Findlay. And it's just a legacy that's passed down to each son. And he is a great linebacker. He can cover the entire sideline to sideline.
And you saw him doing it right there with a little help from his friends. Helms came in there too. And this is a 3rd and 5 situation that, again, a defense that hasn't been able to stop Liberty, and they did a great job on that reverse, not letting Struck get big yardage on it. And so right now, big play.
1 for 2, 50% for the game. Here is Leonard. Leonard being pursued, gets the toss away, and diving is Shapker, trying to make it, bringing the pressure. We just talked about him. It was Luke Wyrau getting his hands around Leonard.
Yeah, and it was that pressure as Leonard was going down. He tried to release the ball. You could see that it did not make it all the way out to his intended target, and so now a 4th down situation. Not as easy to make call on this one as it's 4th and 5 at the 45. You give Findlay great field position if you turn the ball over here, and we see him bringing the punting team out.
They will here. And back deep for the Findlay Trojans is the ever-dangerous returner, C.J. Reed Tisdale. He had a big punt return for a touchdown against Anthony Wayne. And it's a false start, backing up Liberty. Backing up to midfield here for this punt early in the second quarter.
Well, if you thought that Liberty might have a fake on, you would consider they took that off now that it's 4th and 10.
Going to take plenty of time here. Now, here is the high kick, short kick, though. Calling for the fair catch is C.J. Reed Tisdale at his 15-yard line. Well, we wanted to see the adjustments Ryan Montgomery, Coach Adams made in this offense and how they would respond after the opening drive interception. Well, they marched down the field, and they didn't need much time to get into the end zone.
They didn't. In that time of possession, really in Olentangy's favor in that first quarter, possessing the ball for over 9 minutes in the first quarter. And so, but Findlay, they are able to strike quickly. You just don't want to strike too quickly and have your defense living on the field all night long.
Give those guys a chance to get some water here. And a false start against the offense.
Findlay going backwards on first down, and that extra 5 yards, it just really alters what you're going to do here. Although when you've got Ryan Montgomery as the signal caller, I'm not sure that it affects you as much as it might in some other situations.
Of course, now close to 7,000 yards all time for his career. Broke that record earlier this season. Another high throw, complete here on the near sidelines to Javonte Hill. And with that size, he's able to just put that ball up there. And Hill is one of the sizable receivers. Javonte Hill, 6'3".
Yeah, when you've got receivers like that and you put the ball on the money the way Ryan Montgomery does, those are some pretty easy pitch and catches.
2nd and 5. They pick up 10 here. Montgomery scanning the field, backpedaling, running to his right now, has all kinds of time, and it's thrown over the middle, back to Hill. Hill gets to the sidelines here, picks up the first down.
I love the way Hill did not give up on that play. It was Montgomery's first read. He looks to him, he was covered. And then if you paid attention, Ryan Montgomery read the next 3 receivers. It wasn't there. Hill kept moving, came across the defense. Montgomery able to put it on him for a first down.
13-yard connection here. And here's the pressure coming from behind him. Never sees it coming. It's a huge sack. Going for a big loss from the edge rusher. It is Landon Hunter the junior.
Landon Hunter just discarding Ryan Montgomery way behind the down marker, and now Findlay with a 2nd and 18 situation. You mentioned it, that pressure came quickly. The receivers, he was waiting for him to get open up, and looks like we're going to see a timeout here. Nope. Officials have an
Well, you just made the great play by Hunter, and now he will kind of erase that with the 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, I didn't see the flag at first. I saw the official stop it, and so he erases that. Still a 2nd and 13 for Ryan Montgomery in this Trojan offense.
Montgomery gets rid of the ball so fast that pass is bobbled and dropped. Coverage was draped all over top of him.
Vincent Dragoni was in position, and what we saw different there, we've seen them giving a lot of space to these receivers. This time he played tight. It wasn't press coverage, but he wasn't drifting backwards. He stayed right in position, expecting that receiver to turn around when he did.
During that last touchdown drive for Findlay, they were kind of having more success with deeper patterns. Now things open underneath because of that adjustment by the defense.
Yeah, and they're getting some pressure on Ryan Montgomery, as we saw in the last play where he was thrown for a sack.
They're going to bring 4 here. Montgomery, sidearm toss. Hill with the reception just shy of midfield. And he will get upended, stopping his progress by Cameron Cole.
I hope you realize what you're watching, people. That's not normal. That's special. That is a special throw when you've got a linebacker right in your line of sight between you and your receiver. You mentioned it, big receiver. You love having the big guy out there. But, man, to be able to drop that over the linebacker and not throw it high on your receiver, that's a special type of throw right there.
These two have rare chemistry together. Here's the RPO, back to Hill. Hill gets a block by Best. Goes one-on-one with the matchup outside. And he takes a hit.
You just mentioned something that's so key is that chemistry piece, and you can tell that Hill is that target that Ryan Montgomery likes to go to, and he's willing to look at him pretty quickly, and just a great connection between them.
6-yard completion sets up 2nd and 4 for the Trojans. Here they go. Guthrie is jackknifed and dropped. That is Austin Stamp.
Well, a rare running play there by Findlay, something we haven't seen a lot of, and Guthrie not able to take advantage of a defense that's thinking pass first. And normally, a lot of times you'll run to set up the pass, but in Findlay's case, they pass so often it should set up the run. In that case, it didn't.
Sets up a 3rd and 2 here, and how about 1st and 10 if you're Findlay? A little bit too much aggressiveness. And the guilty party here, it was Carter Kuhn.
Kuhn giving the same gift back to Findlay that Findlay gave on one of Liberty's touchdown drives.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. We're about to enter the holiday season here. It's 1st and 10, empty backfield here. Ryan Montgomery. There was some movement from the defensive tackle inside. They thought he jumped across.
He did move, but we are looking right down that line. Good no flag by the officials there.
Montgomery scanning the field, looking to his right, has the 1-on-1 matchup here. And Ragland had to make an almost acrobatic effort to get to it.
Ragland going high. That one was a rare miss by Ryan Montgomery as he just sailed that ball a little too high and out of bounds. And Ragland, like you said, doing a great effort. Great job making an effort to pull that one in. But if you're going to miss, you miss long and out of bounds because there's no harm of anybody else catching it.
One of the things that's forgot about this Findlay team last year was the maturation process. They were 5-6, 5-5 during the regular season. Went through some growing pains and development, and it's paying off here, and it pays off dividends on this play. Complete inside the 25, back to Jacob Ragland for the 1st down.
Well, Ragland's like, hey, Ryan, hit me on the other side of the field the next time. And this time he puts it on the money, and Ragland able to pull that one in. And Findlay moving the chains and moving down the field.
15-yard pitch and catch. Here they go on 1st down to the ground. Here's Guthrie with an explosive carry. Crossing into the red zone to the 19-yard line, so he will pick up 7 yards on 1st down.
Really nice run there by Matthew Guthrie. He did a nice job. He stepped hard as if he was going outside, planted his foot, cut back inside, let the block, set up at the next level. Then he drove forward to pick up that 6-yard gain.
They've entered the Appliance Center red zone as Montgomery calling the audible at the line, and now everybody will get set here. Under 10 seconds left here. And a risky throw here. Never seen the ball coming was Cameron Cole. He was the second defender. The linebacker matched up with the receiver. He had some help in his secondary from that second safety.
Had some help, and I don't think he really connected with the receiver, which is why you don't see a flag, but he had never turned his head around in that. And again, that one was thrown underneath the receiver. He wasn't able to step inside of that defender.
Olentangy Liberty showing blitz. They're going to bring 5 here. It's picked up by the offensive line. Too much zip on that pass, and it's broken up. Intended for Ben Best.
Well, Ben Best intended for, but Caleb Shoemate never released Best and was literally on his shoulder the entire time. Not in a negative way, in the way you want that coverage to be. Never created any separation, and as soon as the ball got there, he was able to drive through Best to cause that incompletion and set up Findlay now with a 4th and 4 situation.
4th and 4, 6:34 remaining in the first half. Findlay trailing 14-7 in the first round, the opening round of the Ohio High School Athletic Playoffs here. That's a ball thrown right at the pylon, leading Raglan just a little bit too far, and it's incomplete, and Findlay will turn the ball over on downs.
As soon as that ball left Ryan Montgomery's hand, it'll be interesting to see if he talks to Raglan when he comes over. As soon as it left his hand, he was frustrated because he expected his receiver to take he threw it before the break, and he was expecting his receiver to take that break a little quicker than he did, and that's why that ball was off target. Montgomery threw it right where it needs to be. Receiver just a step behind it.
You know what that defense does right now? They dodged a bullet right there.
They dodged a bullet and continued to keep the lead for their offense.
Offense that has been led on the ground from Jake Struck from the very opening offensive play. And they will feed him on first down, and he escapes. They had him almost dead to rights. The football pops loose. Findlay says they have it, and they do. Up with the ball is Israel Moore with the takeaway.
Well, Lohr comes up with that ball, and Findlay is excited, and I think Struck is a little upset, and I do understand why. It looked like his forward progress had been stopped for quite some time. And that pile-up was kind of a dead pile-up, and Findlay kept working and stripped at the ball and gets a very fortunate turnover and a takeaway here with 6:22 left in the first.
You said the key point right there, partner. No whistle. So what is this defense trained to do? Play until you hear a whistle, and they make the most of it.
They did, and now an offense that wasn't able to convert on a 4th and 4, almost the same spot of the field, gets the ball back.
So nothing is hurt for Findlay here after the takeaway. Here's Montgomery looking to his right, now running to his left, throw off his back heel. It's caught by Hill. Hill spinning free, has a chance here, and now the host of defenders, you see him tugging and trying to strip and swipe that football. Finally, it was Carter Kuhn and Austin Stamp that are able to take down Hill.
Well, Hill pinballing in there. It looks like he's been watching Struck on the other side of the ball there, and he's able to pinball off a few defenders, and you mentioned it. Their defense also taking a cue from what they just saw happen, and they continued to rip at that ball. Hill doing a nice job hanging on to it.
Guthrie, the lone back, off the left hip of Ryan Montgomery. Here's the play fake. Looking to his left, right at the end zone, and Hill incomplete. He's a little bit slow to get up. The big playmaker for this Findlay Trojan offense.
Hill landed right on that ball. Might have got the wind knocked out of him a little bit there. You see how he's breathing. Got to believe that's the case. See if coach maybe gives him play off. There he goes to the sideline to catch his breath.
Coach Adams told us this week when we were chatting with him, what you see this season has been a work of the last 2 years, and now this is the cultivation. This is the time that they've been waiting for. Motion out of the backfield is Guthrie here. Ryan Montgomery up the middle, takes a bump, leans forward, and he crosses the end zone. Touchdown, Findlay.
Ryan Montgomery doing it through the air and on the ground with his legs. As soon as you saw Guthrie go in motion out, you saw the linebacker step up to blitz. What they didn't recognize is Ryan was expecting that, and as soon as the offensive line pushed him out, he just takes that ball right up the middle for another 6.
He's built with that size to take that hit that he did right at the goal line here, as the extra point by Sprague is on the money here. Ryan Montgomery on 2nd and goal cashes in from 5 yards out. We are tied at 14 here with 5:44 left. Findlay Trojans have erased a early 14-point deficit and have tied things at 14 all here. There's a squib kick. And look at that bounce, placed perfectly. It will roll inside the 5, and all Liberty can do is dive on top and cover the football up. Huge special teams play.
And when you get to postseason, you have to be sharp in all 3 categories. Coach Sansbury from Liberty told us that exact thing. In a big mistake right there, every time Findlay has kicked off, they've done that squib, just getting the ball bouncing. Wasn't sure if they're doing it because they're expecting and they've got a great returner or why, but that time paying off for Findlay and pinning Liberty back inside the 5-yard line.
My final hop looked like it hit a trampoline and went sailing in the air. And now they have it 95 yards, the distance in front of them here with all 3 timeouts with 5:44 left in the first half. Here's the play fake. Here's the quarterback keep. Leonard spinning ahead, and they will take him down after the 7-yard gain. Another stop for Luke Wyrout.
Really good play call there. You've got the zone read. Leonard recognizing that because Struck has been so effective running the ball, you saw them collapse so quickly on him. He pulls it out, does a nice job to get those 8 yards.
Leonard took over starting quarterback duties about week 5 last year. And his second season, he has progressed and matured nicely, over 2,000 yards passing this season. Empty backfield this time. He pump fakes, doesn't see the pressure coming, and they will drop him for a huge loss.
He's going to be back to about the 2-yard line, depending where they spot his forward progress, and that is Jacob Vance. Kind of a slow blitz, delayed there, and Vance comes through, shoots that gap, and Leonard, not even recognizing or seeing him, throws him back, and they're going to say his forward progress had him to the 6-yard line.
And a story on Jacob Vance, he was coming off the bench. They had a key injury in the Whitmer game, and he's the next man up, and you see why as he gets a huge sack. And it's 3rd and 9. Leonard scampering, and he will throw it downfield. And here's a leap and a grab. Here's the catch here, and it has a whole lot more in front on the reception, and it will go all the way downfield from Jake Struck. Made a tremendous leap, and he hauled it in for the touchdown.
Well, Leonard started off because he felt the pressure, didn't panic, rolled to his left, and as the defense thought he was going to take off running, you saw the defender come off of Struck, take a step forward. That's all Leonard needed. He drops the ball over the defender, puts it in Struck's hand, and for a big, thick, hardy back, he doesn't look that fast, but he has found the way to the end zone twice on long plays tonight.
How about a 46-yard rushing score and now a 94-yard receiving touchdown that gives Liberty the lead here with 4:08 left in the first half. 21-14, Olentangy Liberty. Jake Struck, the 6'1", 190-pound junior, going 94 yards. They didn't need much time. Clock was at 5:08. Took about a minute off the clock.
That's probably the one thing they did, dare I say, wrong on that play is, they want to eat clock. That's one of their ways they want to play defense against this Findlay Trojan offense. But that offense right there, striking quickly, and Jake Struck doing a great job after the catch with that ball.
Despite the 2-8 record, coming in here, the 3-7 record coming in here, this team has a lot of postseason experience. I went to the regional final. How much does that translate into the postseason that they have that experience?
It absolutely helps out because it's nervy coming into the postseason, knowing that if you lose, you go home, you take the pads off, and if you're a senior, you take the pads off for the last time.
Guthrie, a patient runner, had wide open space and slithered for the first down. And it's 1st and 10 Findlay from their own 33-yard line. Findlay still has all 3 timeouts. Montgomery going hurry up. Zips it over the middle again underneath to Guthrie. Same exact play, just ran to the opposite side.
That's exactly it. They're clearing out. The linebackers are dropping back. Guthrie's coming under him. Ryan Montgomery's hitting him in stride, and those are 2 first downs back-to-back.
Chunk plays have been huge for Findlay, not only tonight but all season long. Montgomery now turning the corner. Montgomery zips it downfield, and it's batted out of bounds. And it's broken up by Caleb Shoemate.
Shoemate able to get a hand on that one and knock it out of bounds. Ryan Montgomery doing a nice job rolling to the right there and keeping that play alive as early pressure came in. And, Findlay's offense, Liberty goes up, scores. You just don't feel like they panic, and they don't need to, because this is a high-efficiency offense that has the ability to strike whether they want to put a long drive together or strike quickly.
This is just the third time all season that Olentangy Liberty scored more than 20 points. Pass right down the middle, seam route, Ben Best. Complete all the way at the Patriot 30-yard line.
Findlay been going a little quick here. When they get a good play, you see them going right up to the line. But, yards after catch is such a big thing, and it's so much on the quarterback if he leads his receivers.
Gain of 29, and they do get two Patriot players to jump across the line encroachment.
One of the beauties of going fast is you get that to happen. And to continue that thought, though, is when the yards after catch are good, it so often has to do with the fact that the quarterback's leading his receivers.
Empty backfield. Here it's complete on the soft toss to Hill. High tackle, enough to slow him down.
Hill doing a nice job, though, of getting the first down before he gets whipped around. And Vincent Dragoni, 11 on 11, we've seen a few times tonight. That time he's able to keep Hill from making a big play on that, but not until after he was able to get the first down.
As they've entered the Appliance Center red zone here again tonight with 3:04 left. Montgomery sidearm release. It's complete underneath to Max Guthrie.
He threw that ball like a dad would playing catch with his son in the backyard. Did you see that? No body motion whatsoever. Literally from the elbow through the wrist. And he throws that ball about 8-9 yards down the field, showing the strength that he's got and the accuracy without even using any of his body parts to help him.
They've done this still with all three timeouts in their back pocket. Best going in motion. They fake it. Coming back is Hill. Best with a nice block. Creates some separation for Hill, and he will do the rest, showcasing his speed for the touchdown.
And he needs to go back, and he needs to grab Best and Little and make sure he gives the kudos to those two young men who, as soon as that screen was thrown, they locked onto their blocks. He only had one man to beat. He ran in between those two blockers and takes it to the house because of the great blocking by his other receivers.
When he gets into a wide open space like that and is up the top gear, forget about it. There's no chance anybody is going to catch him. Findlay with a quick drive, 15-yard receiving touchdown. Second hookup from Montgomery to Javonte Hill. We're tied at 21. Olentangy Liberty and Findlay Trojans exchanging scores offensively and not wasting a whole lot of time. We've had two scores in about the last 3 minutes and change, and there again, another late hop placed perfectly by the special teams unit, but refusing to go down, taking it all the way back to the 35.
Alex Rucker is able to pull that one in, and then what he does with it after the fact was just incredible, as he's now put Liberty's offense probably changes. I was even thinking, I'm like, okay, is Coach Sansbury just going to eat up clock and go in and be content going down 21-21? Or would they try to score? Now with this field position, you got to believe they're going to try to put 7 more on the board before half.
Absolutely. They know that Findlay still has all 3 timeouts, and Findlay will get the ball to start the second half as well. Andrew Leonard threw a perfect ball to Jake Struck, which went for a 96-yard score the last drive. We haven't seen Evan Nelson involved, and Leonard was looking his way. Pump fake now, directing traffic like an air traffic controller, just shy of the 40 to the 39.
Well, that play really got set up. Israel Moore read the wheel route as we saw Evan Nelson trying to come to the bottom of your screen on a wheel route. That was where Leonard was looking, and Moore took it away. Leonard had to pull that down and just get what he could with his legs. Nice job there defending the receiver.
We have not seen Toby Gage involved. He had to target his way early. He's the team's leading wide receiver with 43 receptions, no catches so far in this first half. Nelson turning up here, looking his way is Leonard. Now he's being chased. Pump fakes now. He releases it over to Struck, who will do the sideline tiptoe drill and get his feet in bounds.
You had mentioned earlier about Leonard, coming in about midway through the season. So far, what I've seen out of this young man, his best attribute is his mental game. The way he's able to read, recognize, and react is really, really strong, and you can see why they are tied up 21 apiece in this game.
Leonard looking to his right. Here's a throw. It's complete. A great open field tackle. That's Israel Moore as he had the fumble recovery reception. There's Toby Gage.
You just called for it. You said Toby Gage hasn't been involved, and Leonard recognizing that too, gets it out to his playmaker and creates a second down situation here.
It was like a Bigfoot sighting. They're out there, but where is he? Here's the play fake from Leonard. Leonard shuffling his feet. He leads Struck in front, and he gets up to speed, and he blasts Moore. But I love what Leonard did there. He didn't throw it in the letters, Ed. He threw it out in front of his wide receiver.
And that goes back to a quarterback is responsible for yards after catch. Right there was a great example. You said it. He didn't make his receiver wait on it. He led his receiver, so he was already up to speed. Struck, as we've seen, very efficient as a receiver as well as a ball carrier. Does a nice job getting the first down.
And Olentangy Liberty trying to strike gold here late in the first half. Leonard running to his right, tucks the football away, crosses the 25 and steps out of bounds, out of harm's way at the 21-yard line, a pickup of 10.
And Leonard doing a great job, and I can't stop talking about this kid. Jake Struck, though, what doesn't he do? Because he's the check down. So the last play we saw Leonard throw it to him. This time, Struck goes out into the flat, recognizes that the throw's not going to be there. He goes out and locks on the linebacker and gives Leonard that running lane for that first down.
And Andrew Leonard, the thing you mentioned, the body language, even after he makes a mistake, you don't know about it because his body language, he's never too high, he's never too low. On the timeout, brought to you by Genoa Bank. Genoa Bank, they take your banking needs personally. We'll keep it here with 1:15 left so you don't miss a thing. But back to that point, the body language from him.
Yeah, and Leonard is just a young man that you see him. When he's out here, Andrew Leonard takes control of his offense. He is in control. He doesn't hang his head on a mistake. He doesn't get in the face of his linemen when, maybe he's gotten too much pressure. He just keeps even-keeled, and he comes out and he realizes that play's over. That's something young players have to learn, and you're seeing him do well. The last play's over. You can't do anything about it. There's no reason to hang your head. You know what you do? You assess it in game film after the game. Right now, he is doing what he can, and this offense, once again, with 1:15 on the clock, it looks like Findlay took the timeout here is what the board is showing us. And so Liberty with all three of their timeouts and a fresh set of downs almost in the red zone once again.
This is a winning program. Since the school was started and founded in 2003, there are only 3 losing seasons, 2003, 2005, in this season. But a lot of change, but a lot of positive happening right now for Olentangy Liberty. And Gage going in motion. No receptions for him. Here's the delayed handoff to Struck. Struck trying to get outside to the corner. And a great pursuit going toe-for-toe with them was C.J. Reed Tisdale.
Reed Tisdale doing a great job, and right there was an error that Struck made. He needed to put his foot in the ground and just go north and south heading toward the goal line. He tried to get cute and get outside, and great open field tackle there.
A little too indecisive here. Rolling out is Leonard, now shuffling to his left, goes to the end zone. Great coverage by C.J. Reed Tisdale on back-to-back plays. He had Wilson Roberts. That was the target.
Reed Tisdale came out to play this series. As you mentioned it, great open field tackle. The receiver had a step on him. You can see what Leonard saw there. It was there. He threw it, and the coverage was just incredible on that play. And they've got a big 3rd down, 3rd and 5 here.
That's the 10th pass breakup from C.J. Reed Tisdale this season. Struck motioning out of the backfield. Leonard stepping up. They get one hand on him, and it is the big junior defensive end, Ashton Yeager, with a huge, massive sack.
Yeager coming in and not giving up at 6'3", 263, using all of that size to get his big mitts on the quarterback and dragging Leonard down. You knew being a 3rd and 5, you go, if they get any of it, they're in great position to go for it on 4th down. But now it's a 4th and 9 because of Leonard's big sack.
And sure enough, I believe we will see Coach Sansbury call the timeout with 1 second left, and he does just that. Back to Ashton Yeager. He's a junior. He's already getting a lot of MAC looks, but he just went on a visit to Morgantown, West Virginia, and Cincinnati's looking at him. And Coach Adams said, this young man, you see the size, you see the strength, somebody is going to land a real talented player here in a year or so in the class of 2025.
And you can see why. I mean, right there, just adding to that resume, the motor. You know, it's one thing to have the size. It's another thing to know how to use it and to stay under control, because you see at high school level a lot of times, guys will get free and they'll come around the edge and they get a little squirrely. They get too excited about what's in front of him. That moment wasn't too big for him. He kept his feet under him and did a great job pulling the quarterback down to make this field goal attempt a little bit longer.
37-yard attempt from the far hash. Braden Scanyon, the senior kicker, on. Just before the half to try and break the tie. Here's the kick, and it's going to be wide left. No good. A tremendous stance by this Findlay defense, and I really credit Ashton Yeager taking him out of field goal range, because that right at just enough distance.
You did. You took them completely out of field goal range on that solo sack. Great job, young man, keeping the score to 21 even, all tied up here going into the half.
We're going to catch our breath here as we've reached halftime from Donnell Stadium. Week 1 of the postseason, and it has been an intense battle between Olentangy, Liberty, and Findlay as we are all tied at 21. We'll see it coming up here for the halftime show on BCSN. Donnell Stadium between Findlay and Olentangy Liberty, tied at 21. Tim Clegg alongside Ed Bellner here. As we take a look at our first half stats, we had focused a lot in the first half on time of possession. 9 minutes of possession for Olentangy in the first quarter. Had them up 2 scores. However, that was flipped in the second quarter.
It really was just 12:48 total time of possession now. So didn't have the ball very long. And, Findlay started to balance that out, and that's why they were able to come back. Even though they don't take long to score, they had those scoring opportunities, which is what allowed this game to get tied up.
There's a couple players that stand out, receivers, especially in this one. For Findlay, Javante Hill, 13 targets in the first half, 11 receptions.
Yeah, Ryan Montgomery's put the ball in his hands 11 times, 129 yards, and 2 TDs. And on the other side of the ball, Findlay able to slow down Struck as a ball carrier, but not as a wide receiver. 5 targets, 5 receptions for 147 yards, and 2 TDs.
And just when we thought, okay, Findlay slowed him down in the backfield, well, they used him out of the backfield as a wide receiver. That 94-yard touchdown allowed them to go back up on top. But how important was that key play at the end of the first half, a sack by Ashton Yeager really taking Olentangy Liberty out of field goal range and a missed field goal right before the half.
Well, why that's so important, too, is because this Findlay team won the coin toss, deferred, so they get the ball this second half. And so they are in position to come out, drive down the field, and take the lead for the first time tonight.
Findlay will get the ball when we start the second half. We'll step aside one final time here. Second half action coming up from Donnell Stadium on BCSN. There you take a look at the sidelines for Olentangy Liberty. The Patriots 3-7. They have shown up, they've come to play, and they traveled well. That's, a little bit of a longer bus ride, especially for a first-round playoff match. It's about an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes. The drive up 23 onto 75, and they have made it well worth their travel so far.
They have, and they have a good fan showing, a lot of fans in the stands for them, and they have traveled up here again, here to see their team play, and they've seen quite a game here in the first half, something that I don't know everyone expected. You see a team with a losing record coming into the playoffs, and it's easy to think, Findlay's got this one in the bag, they're just going to walk into next week, but Findlay recognizing they have a very viable opponent on the field with them.
And they really sensed the urgency right away in that second quarter. Put together a couple quick scoring drives and tying things at 21, and that's where we stand. They will receive the kickoff here to begin the second half. C.J. Reed Tisdale as well as Jacob Ragland, both the two deep men here. That's received at the 5-yard line, a missed tackle. Ragland will take it across the 20 to the 23-yard line, and that's where we will see the junior phenom, Ryan Montgomery, in this electric offense come back out on the field, averaging over 40 points per game. Well, this season, they are certainly on pace to do that yet again.
Another key thing about Ryan Montgomery came out and early threw that interception. Now, yes, it was tipped off his receiver's hands, but nonetheless, as a young man, a junior out here, didn't let that rattle him, we talked about Leonard on the other side of the ball. Ryan Montgomery showing great moxie out here and just comes out and leads his team as they're going to go 5 wide to start off the second half.
He is that leader, and motioning into the backfield is Guthrie here. Guthrie gets the carry to begin the second half. Pyle trying to push him forward, and he will pick up 2 short yards on the first down carry. That running game picked up a couple big first downs, but how important is that going to be in the second half of this game? And if Findlay's able and wanting to put together a long postseason run,
they've got to be able to mix in the run. They don't have to be an run-only team. As we see Javonte Hill picking up where he left off from the first half. But they don't have to be a running team, but they have to have the running game to counterbalance this incredible passing offense.
And that's exactly what Coach Adams told us as he's in his third season is we run when it presents itself, and they certainly do that. And this young man staying in bounds is Javonte Hill with 2 quick receptions, and with number 12 and number 13 on the game already.
And that's not the first time we've seen Javonte Hill not give up at the end of a play, almost when the secondary starts to relax a little bit because they've got him in the grasp. He continues to drive and work hard for extra yards.
Over 80 receptions on the year. Montgomery coming back to the middle, and what a nice move. Sidesteps a defender, and he will extend the run all the way to the 41, picking up 5 yards.
Well, we talk about the running game for Findlay, and right there, Ryan Montgomery showing part of it. He had 2 rushes for 15 yards and a touchdown in that first half, but showing that he doesn't just have to throw the ball.
Back to Hill, out in space, near sidelines, a strong, stiff arm. And Coach Adams loves that. He likes that as much as we do up in the booth.
He sure does, and, why not? Just keep going back to Hill until, Olentangy figures out a way to stop him, and right now, that big receiver is showing them how to get it done at 6'3". He's coming down with everything Ryan Montgomery's throwing at him.
He's making up for lost time out the second half of last year's Reese Little, the motion man. Pulled back out. Montgomery now moving to his left. Fires as he takes a hit downfield, taking a shot in the end zone, and it's caught for the touchdown. Reese Little, Ryan Montgomery standing in a collapsing pocket, takes a hit, and it's thrown right on the money for the touchdown.
You know you have a competitor when you see Ryan Montgomery in there, takes a big shot as he releases the ball. The only thing he did was roll over and turn his head quickly to see his wide receiver pull that ball in for a touchdown. Findlay comes out, does what they needed to, takes the opening drive down the field efficiently, puts it in for 6.
This offense is firing now on all cylinders. Ryan Montgomery, the deep shot downfield in the end zone to Reese Little. Findlay on top for the first time tonight, 28-21, early in the third. First clean return in a long time for Olentangy Liberty. And want to go back to that touchdown drive. The focal point, Javonte Hill, 3 receptions. And when that forces the defense to focus on one player, it's just a matter of time before Ryan Montgomery was going to lock in on another option. He found Reese Little.
He did, and you notice he looked to Hill on the early part of that play, and it draws 2 defenders over. Little, a long crossing route behind it, deep shot. Ryan Montgomery hits him. Little never breaks stride as he pulls that one in deep in the end zone.
Now we'll see how Andrew Leonard and the Patriots respond here. Their first drive of the second half. First time trailing tonight. Jake Struck has been a workhorse. Over 100 yards receiving, 100 yards rushing. That snap is bobbled, and Leonard just gets back to the line of scrimmage, and it's that's Ian Regal and Ashton Yeager.
Well, it was a zone read, and Leonard, because the ball was bobbled, he wanted to give it to Struck, and he wasn't there, and you saw him just kind of pull the ball back and kind of take his lumps on that one. He didn't want to keep it. It was forced to, and ends up with no gain. Fortunately for Liberty, he hangs on to that ball.
That's the first time tonight we've seen a snap issue from Deacon Billy, the starting center. Man going to motion is Evan Nelson. Nelson's had a quiet night. Leonard, high release, and a hit coming in as that ball's held on to and caught by Toby Gage.
Barrett Helms tries to separate him from the ball as he comes in with a big hit. Closed quickly on that one, but not until after 8 yards was gained on that play.
Crucial early third quarter conversion facing Olentangy Liberty here with under 9 minutes left in the third. Third and 2. Leonard passes to Struck out of the backfield. And they calmly pick up the first down.
Well, it has become obvious that as Hill is Montgomery's go-to, that Struck is Leonard's go-to. When he needs a play, that's who he's going to put the ball in the breadbasket of, and Struck knowing what to do with it. Good hands for a tailback. Really does a nice job catching the ball out of the backfield. You see him lining up a lot of times in that slot receiver position even. Knows what to do out in space.
Tight trips formation here. That is the near side of your screen. Pulling to block here. And they miss the assignment, but Struck can't break away. Man that was trying to go in motion and give him some separation was Ryan Shapker. Shapker has had a quiet evening tonight.
Yeah, he has, but there's the young man you were talking about earlier, Luke Waraw. He just comes in and, Struck isn't the kind of guy that I would encourage somebody to tackle up high, but Luke's able to hang on to him and slow him down until he gets a little help from his friends.
Yeah, it's just a spitting image of his older brother, Sam, playing down the road we mentioned for the Findlay Oilers. Here's the 2-yard gain. It sets up 2nd and 8. Just shy of midfield. Leonard has room up the middle. It collapses, trying to navigate back to his right, and he will be caught. It is Isaiah Tualoma.
Tuoloma gets in there, but whether you want to call that a tackle for no gain or a sack, what it was incredible coverage by the defensive backs. The back end, there was nowhere for Leonard to go with that ball. Ran out of time because every one of his receivers was blanketed in the secondary.
You see 33 just out of your screen. That is Struck. He's at the bottom of your screen. One-on-one coverage. Safety high. Leonard looking to the opposite side of the field, throwing off his back foot deep into double coverage. No chance there. Israel Moore, and he also had Brody Barnes downfield to help him.
Yeah, in Wilson Roberts, the intended receiver there, and it was one of those that, you know, it was one of the few times I haven't appreciated what Leonard did. He locked onto that receiver as soon as the ball was snapped and never took his eyes off. He never looked him off, never looked over to the other side of the field, and that is why, I mean, the defense, give credit where credit's due, but the quarterback telegraphed where he was going with that ball ever since the snap.
Quick drive for Olentangy Liberty, and Findlay defense makes the adjustments. That's scooped off the turf here, and they almost got a hand up to get that partially blocked, and that takes a angle and a bounce inside the 20. And we will see Ryan Montgomery back on the field to lead this offense, looking for some separation here at the midway point of the third quarter.
Tell you what, you want to see a good punter in high school. Gino Sukach for the Liberty team. You see him patiently wait. If you're not going to bring pressure on him, what he's doing is he's just rolling. It's that Australian style punt, but he's just giving his gunners a chance to get downfield. Like, if you don't know and you just see that, you're like, what's he doing? He's giving his gunners a chance to get down in coverage, and then you see him nail that ball in. When it hits, it bounces sideways. That takes a lot of skill to do that.
What does it do when those gunners are able to get downfield? Eliminate a return because they're already in position. Here's Hill on the wide receiver screen here on the near side of the field, and almost suplexed, and a helmet comes off and out of bounds.
Actually, I think that was the ball coming out of Hill's hands. He knew he was out of bounds, so he decided to catch himself as he was falling, as opposed to falling hard on his back. He's already had the wind knocked out of him one time tonight.
That is a connection of 7 yards between him and Montgomery. Reese Little, the big, deep ball. Montgomery. Oh, my, he just trucks a defensive lineman. Are you kidding me? What can't Ryan Montgomery do? You can find him up on the offensive line as well. My goodness.
You saw Brody Chapman try to get up off the field out of embarrassment quickly as Ryan Montgomery threw a right forearm and just dropped him.
Missed tackle. Hill makes him pay down the sidelines. Yards after the catch.
Yards after catch, and I'm going to finally say what I've been withholding all night. If Ryan Montgomery doesn't remind you of another quarterback that played in Findlay years ago by the name of Ben Roethlisberger, he's got all the same tools. He doesn't run. He's not a running quarterback, but he's a quarterback that's able to run. And there's a difference, and Ryan Montgomery knows that he's out there to control the offense, and you are seeing him put on a clinic at how to play quarterback at the high school level.
Ben Roethlisberger is here, which he does sometimes come back for home games. He is smiling. I guarantee you if he sees that play, he will be grinning from ear to ear. And I think that's one I have a feeling the studio will be breaking down, especially the big play breakdown or the big collision play by our friends in studio and one of my colleagues, Mike Robinson. I mean, that was just, I'm still in awe.
You know what? That gets my vote. If we don't have a vote, but if I did, for the collision of the night, to see a quarterback throw a right forearm and just send a defensive lineman backwards, that is the epitome of that play.
And continues to build the energy surrounding this offense. There's the play action fake. Montgomery zips it, and that's almost intercepted. Cameron Cole sitting down in his linebacker position and just swats it down.
Cameron Cole almost able to take that the other way to tie this one up. Ryan Montgomery got away with one there. That was an ill-advised throw, and sometimes you can get a little too confident in your own abilities. Now, he's got a reason to, but that one he was fortunate to get away with, and Findlay fortunate to still have the ball here.
Findlay's not faced a lot of third downs tonight. They were 1 for 2 third down conversions in the third half, going for it all. Reese Little, the intended wide receiver.
You wonder if that last throw had Ryan shaken just a little bit, knowing that he got away with one, because we saw that ball do something he rarely does, and he just threw it over his receiver's head and out of bounds, and he had Little in position to come down with it, and Montgomery just throws that one, sails it a little bit far.
So they get a quick series, can't do anything with it. Drive that stalls out before midfield here. Now Toby Gage looking for a return, and he will get out of the way because this will take a huge, and I mean huge, Findlay bounce and a roll inside the 10. That's the second time we saw Liberty pinned at their own 5. Well, that was a 94-yard touchdown. Now, from their own 9-yard line, can they do it once more?
So what you're saying is they're really not going to be bothered by the fact that they can see the shadow of the goalpost behind them. They're just going to come out here and execute their offense. An offense that, very productive. First 2 times they had the ball, they came down and scored. Then they kind of hit a little bit of a lull and stuff. They hit that big 94-yard touchdown that you mentioned when they were down tight like this. Other than that, Findlay's defense has kind of stepped up since that time.
They've been able to get a lot of pressure to disrupt Andrew Leonard and also take Jake Struck out of the game for all intents and purposes after he has done his damage. Trying to do some more damage here on first down as he will carry it across the 15, a pickup of 6 on first down.
Well, if that play looked unique, I want to say about 2/3 of the players stopped playing for a moment because everyone knew the offense had moved before the ball was snapped. We saw that called earlier. They never threw the flag. And so the offense had started moving. The ball wasn't snapped. By the time they snapped it, they let the play go on, and you saw Leonard and Struck both go, oh, we got to keep playing. And thank you very much. We'll take those 7 yards.
Gonna bring 3 here. Leonard with a rifle. It's a wobbling pass.
Actually, that was a handoff to Struck. And the wobbly pass, and Struck showing that he's not Mr. All-American. He can't do everything on the field, as that did not look much like a pass, which is why we were surprised that you thought that was Andrew Leonard. It was not, and Jake Struck showing that he is not a quarterback.
So Coach John Sansbury, the first-year head coach, longtime assistant, 2005 Liberty graduate, going in deeper to the playbook. Now they're faced with 3rd and 3. Leonard pump fakes, looking to his left now. And there was a late flag. Couldn't hear it because this stadium had really erupted with noise.
Yes, it did, and it's going to be a 3rd and 8 instead of a 3rd and 3. Not what you want if you are Coach Stansberry, because now you've got a long 3rd down deep in your own territory.
And he has a lot of coaching experience in the playoffs. 26 games, 3 state semifinals as well.
He does, but you got to believe Findlay right now, they're going to bring the pressure, sit a linebacker in the middle, so if it's a crossing route, you see Coach Leonard right there.
From their own 11. Here comes the pressure. It's Ashton Yeager. He falls down. Leonard escapes, zips it downfield. It's underthrown, and it's broken up. In coverage downfield, it is Barrett Helms.
Barrett Helms doing a great job once again. He's been a ball hawker all night, and you saw him just kind of sit and bait Leonard to throw that. He knew that he had Struck behind him, but he also knew he had the closing speed to get under that ball, and he didn't worry about the receiver. He watched the ball all the way and just threw that one to the ground, forcing Liberty to have to punt.
Well, they can't do anything with it this time deep in their own territory. And C.J. Reed Tisdale as well as, looks like Dante Kaufman, both back deep, and Reed Tisdale calls for the fair catch. And they will start with outstanding field position here. The defense changing script here. And they will come back out on the field. And with 3:37 left here in the third quarter, Findlay leading 28-21 over Olentangy Liberty. They trailed by 2 scores early in this game. And here's Max Guthrie. Guthrie changing lanes, cuts back up the middle, carries it across to the Liberty 38-yard line.
Matthew Guthrie doing a great job taking advantage of one of his rare opportunities to carry the ball. He reads the blocks of his offensive linemen. They sealed off the linebacker. He cuts it back inside, takes that up the field for a 9-yard gain. Now you've got a 2nd and 1 in your own territory. You can do whatever you want offensively.
Motions Guthrie out of the backfield, and there they go with a quarterback draw up the middle, and Montgomery showing again why you have to respect him.
Design quarterback run all the way, and you saw Montgomery took one step back, stuck his foot in the ground, followed his big guys up front, and is able to get a really nice gain before he just allows himself to go to the ground. Findlay on the move once again.
Max Guthrie. And they will give him forward progress to about the 24, call it the 23.
So we started this half talking about the run game from Findlay and the importance of it and getting it going. And you're seeing Findlay doing that right now. They're kind of taking a page from Liberty's playbook to go, we need to eat up ground yardage and clock because they want to do what they can to get this running game going.
You see that here on this play, the play clock at 10, now under 10. Utilizing it all. Javante Hill coming back on the wide receiver screen, and he will step across the 20 to the 19.
Hill does a nice job, and I like the patience he showed there. He just kind of waited. The ball got to him really quickly, which allows him then to let his blocking set up in front of him. And his blockers do a great job knowing to not block downfield till after the ball's in his hands. Excellent job there by all 11 guys on the offense.
And we're in the Appliance Center red zone. And they wanted to call it. Looked like they got some movement from Cameron Cole. Here's the audible. Coming back on the wide receiver screen, Javante Hill. He is lifted up, but getting a push late from Ragland. See where they mark this at forward progress. And it is just enough for a first down.
Yes, forward progress got him to the 15-yard line. He only needed about the 16 and a half, so easily got that before, as you mentioned, being lifted and carried backwards. So Findlay now with a fresh set of downs and only 50 seconds left here in this third quarter, taking their time, letting clock run, and you've mentioned it the last few plays, letting the play clock get down below 10.
Again, they will do it here. That clock snapped at 7 now. Here is Guthrie. Guthrie fires up the middle.
Got to believe that is going to be the last play that Findlay will run this quarter, as they have more time on the play clock than on the game clock. So won't be surprised at all with the pace they're going to see them just let this one go.
And they will do just that. Ryan Montgomery, the 38-yard passing touchdown to Reese Little to put Findlay on top for the first time tonight, as they will take a 7-point lead to the fourth quarter on BCSN. Gearing up for a exciting conclusion in the opening round of the OHSAA state playoffs from Hancock County, Donnell Stadium. Findlay with a 28-21 lead over Olentangy. Liberty, Tim Clegg alongside Ed Bellner. So glad that you've chosen to make us part of your Friday evening here. And Findlay trying to get some separation on the scoreboard here. Leading by 7. They will have 2nd and 7 from Liberty's 12-yard line to begin the fourth quarter. Empty backfield. Montgomery looking to his right. Pressure coming up the middle. Gets out of harm's way. And he will pick up 4 yards.
Yeah, Ryan Montgomery, the biggest thing he did is not take a sack down here. And we saw Carter Kuhn chasing from behind. Looked like he had a part of the jersey at one point. And Ryan Montgomery just able to pull away and gets upfield to create a 3rd and 7. And, the question is then, if they get close, do they go for it on 4th down, or do they go ahead and choose to kick the field goal? Either way, if you kick the field goal, it's a 2-score game at that point.
They can't come away empty-handed. We know that points matter in the postseason. Montgomery, far side of the field, bobbled and finally caught, stumbling ahead after the reception. That's the first catch of the night. The first catch of the half, from Austin Hasselback.
And Ryan Montgomery just go and hold my soda. Don't worry about what would happen on 4th down. We're just going to go ahead and complete this, and we're going to try to put another one in the end zone. Really nice pitch and catch there, as you saw that Hasselbach was wide open there.
And then to add insult to injury, a penalty against the defense. So that will inch them even closer towards the goal line.
So a fresh set of downs inside the 5. And we've seen a quarterback do a quarterback draw a few times.
Yeah.
We've seen him throw a right forearm and drop a defensive lineman. And he's got Matthew Guthrie beside him, who is itching to get a chance to carry one across the goal line.
Going to go empty, and here's Montgomery bulldozing his way across the goal line for the rushing touchdown for the 2nd time tonight. And he is fired up.
Yeah.
Late penalty coming into play.
It's going to be a personal foul afterwards. A little too fired up after that big run, and he kind of got in the face of the defender that he ran over.
Yeah.
And you love everything about that if you're Coach Adams, except the 15-yard penalty on the quarterback after getting a little too excited. But you knew it was coming, and you got to believe Liberty did too.
You would have had to guess they looked in their crystal balls. We are, in Halloween time that they knew it was coming, but hard to stop. Credit the offensive line paving the way.
It starts up there. I mean, he's had time all night. Only a couple times has he been hurried throwing the ball. When he's done the quarterback draw, he's had a running lane in there. The offensive line keeps anybody from getting any penetration as the extra point goes up and through.
2nd rushing touchdown for the junior Ryan Montgomery. Findlay leading Liberty 35-21 early in the 4th. Findlay red hot now here, going up 2 scores, 35-21, leading Olentangy Liberty, trying to create a ticket to next week's 2nd round of the postseason. Tim Clegg alongside Ed Bellner here. I'm still amazed by Ryan Montgomery running the football. He doesn't shy away from contact. I mean, that's twice now. He's just lowered the shoulder and straight out run over people. Findlay special teams trying to pursue, and I will say that is a strong suit tonight for Olentangy Liberty has been the utilization in the special teams department tonight.
Going back to your comment about Montgomery, at 6'3", 215, as a coach, you're okay with your quarterback lowering his shoulder like that. Sometimes you're like, we don't know that we want him to do that. But Ryan Montgomery plays light on his feet and thick in his thighs. In other words, he moves so well, but when he needs that power, he has it and he finds it. The leg drive, the upper body strength, all the components are there. Again, you can understand why he's getting looks as a junior from so many top-ranked schools in the collegiate level.
So what you're telling me is he's got moves like Jagger. Here's the completion, and a big hit from Israel Moore after the first reception of the second half from Evan Nelson.
Israel Moore with a great open field tackle there, and we'll talk about that so I don't have to respond to your moves like Jagger comment. And Liberty going to go quickly here, realizing they're down 2 scores with 11 minutes left in this one.
Andrew Leonard trying to showcase his arm now. He goes right back to Evan Nelson. First down and a big gain crossing into Findlay territory all the way down to the Findlay 38.
Evan Nelson, without touching one of the defensive backs, just dropped him to the ground with the move he put on him, which is why he was so wide open for that reception.
Number 1 and number 2 receptions of the evening for Evan Nelson. Quiet through 3 quarters. Here's Leonard trying to pick up a couple, and he's pushed right into his own bench here, and things getting a little chippy. Guys trying to defend their quarterback was from Jacob Vance, the junior, and Coach Sansbury and his staff trying to draw the attention of the officiating crew.
And we see a defense that really, after those first 2 drives, they did give up the big one, but other than that, a defense that settled in once they knew what they were looking at, and they've been able to play with Olentangy Liberty's offense.
Watch struck here, 33. Leonard stepping up, avoids pressure, throws on the run, and it's almost picked off. That is Israel Moore.
Israel Moore having the best opportunity for that one. Although we're going to see a holding penalty here take Olentangy Liberty in the wrong direction as they are backing up. They will get that second down to play over again, but going the wrong way. And we saw Wilson Roberts on that. It was a curl route, and then he left. He vacated and went downfield. I saw him talking to Leonard across the field like, hey, you were scrambling, so, I kept running a route instead of just sitting.
They avoid the interception. The holding penalty pushes them back for 2nd and 18 from the Findlay Trojan 46. There's Wilson Roberts, and Roberts couldn't get loose. C.J. Reed Tisdale.
Late flag, and if this is a personal foul after the play, this could result in a fresh set of downs for Liberty if it is against Findlay, which
certainly looks that way.
See the officials talking it over there. Deacon Billy, number 54 there. Looks like he may want to be an official after his high school career, getting in the conversation.
Yeah, getting a little early internship opportunity. I would like to see that replay because that's a tough pill to swallow at the end of that play from C.J. Reed Tisdale.
He got up excited, but we don't know what was said or we weren't close enough to see the body language. The officials who have done a stellar job out here tonight calling that one.
Here's the play fake, the Strzok. Passed wide over the middle. It's hauled in by Toby Gage.
Toby Gage doing a nice job pulling that one in. Leonard that time, what was good about that for Liberty is it was a quick release. He didn't stand back there and hold it. He took his 3-step drop and he was able to get rid of it.
They have entered the Appliance Center red zone here from the Findlay Trojan 13-yard line. Stepping up, Leonard. His pass is tipped by his intended target, Evan Nelson.
Brody Barnes, again, once in a while, Leonard will give away where he's going with his eyes. That time he locked onto Evans the whole time. And the good news is Brody Barnes, a smart defensive back, saw that, didn't get out of position, and was in a place to knock that one down.
It's only second down for them. 2nd and 10 from the Findlay 13-yard line. Personal foul gave him great position here. Leonard, as they try and set up the screen for Struck. Missed tackle. How about 2? And he will make him pay as he was down by contact. And he has just enough for the first down.
He gets the first down, and I was just thinking one of the reasons Findlay has been able to slow down the Olentangy Liberty offense is because they've kept that guy in check. And as soon as you don't, you let him sneak out of the backfield as a check down, and he hurts you. And they're actually saying that he fell short of the first down marker.
3rd and 1 upcoming there. 3 for 8 on 3rd down conversions. Leonard under center. Strzok steamrolling ahead, and he picks it up almost effortlessly.
Big-time old-school power play there. You see the 2 tights and the 3 in the backfield. You got a big fullback back there leading the way and kicks it out. Struck's able to put his foot in the ground and just easily get that first down. So how big is that 15-yard personal foul penalty when it looked like Findlay's defense was going to get off the field? Now, at about the 3-yard line, a fresh set of downs for Liberty.
1st and goal. Liberty from the Findlay 2-yard line. Leonard, quarterback keeper. And they now signal touchdown, Patriots.
Appreciate him taking the time to make sure they got it right, but he looked like he was clearly in, and so they get the 6, and they are a point away from making this a 1-score game with about 8.5 left.
Remember that penalty extends the drive, and the result, Patriots points.
It's why coaches talk so much about keeping your head when you're on the field, whether you're frustrated or excited. You've got to do that, and we see a flag here before the kick is actually good. So it was an encroachment, so the ball will be moved half the distance. It'd be interesting to see if the coach decides to bring his offense back out and go for 2. Looks like he's going to keep the kicking squad on.
And they will decline the penalty. Extra point attempt is good. So it's a 1-touchdown game here. 35. They are staying on.
Well, I was going to say, you can decline it, but the point couldn't be good because it was a dead ball foul. It happened before the snap. And so they have to replay the down.
They got great penetration up the middle. That's all for naught. The PAT attempt is... Findlay on top. BCSN and Buckeye Broadband have teamed up with the American Cancer Society to raise awareness about breast cancer. We support the cancer survivors, and we want you to get a proper screening. Visit cancer.org for details. Presented locally by Habitat Security. 35-28, 8:27 left to go as the Findlay Trojans come out with the football. Tim Clegg alongside Ed Bellner here. And that was a big response drive for Olentangy. I felt like their offense just had really run out of steam and momentum. And that was kind of just what the doctor ordered, including that penalty.
Well, they had a few, different receivers touch it, and they got Struck back involved in the offense, which made a difference.
First down play from their own 17-yard line, and now it becomes Findlay taking some air out of it, using some clock here with Max Guthrie in the backfield. Guthrie trying to wear down the defense as he picks up 5. They're going hurry up here. So Austin Hasselback. Completion all the way to the 27.
Yeah, trying to catch Liberty off guard and make them think that all they're going to do is try to milk clock. And that time coming out with a quick pass to Hasselback and gained yardage, but you've got a big 3rd and 1 here, an important down and distance.
Keep an eye on Ryan Montgomery and see what he can do here. He has the first down, breaks through. Late flag at the end of that play, and you see the motioning by the defense.
Thrown in the area of holding on the offensive line. We'll see if that's what they conclude. Came in from the back judge, which is unique. It wasn't the umpire or the line judge.
This could certainly make things a little bit more intriguing here.
And it does, and I don't think any of us and maybe half the defense wasn't surprised to see Ryan Montgomery on the quarterback draw, but at 3rd and now 6 or 7, little different setup. I apologize, 3rd and 11 because it is a spot foul from the hold, so that is correct. It is a 10-yard penalty from the spot.
Keep an eye, Javonte Hill, 18 receptions. At the end of the 3rd quarter, Guthrie going in motion. Montgomery steps up, evades pressure. He turns into a runner here. Has the first down. A last burst is just enough for the first down.
Ryan Montgomery, Mr. Everything tonight. He knows what it takes to win ball games. He's not afraid to pull the ball down when the defense gives him that running lane. He takes it right up the middle to convert a big 3rd and 11.
That is huge. Keeps this Patriot defense on the field, extends the drive. More importantly, eats a lot more clock with the Trojans in the lead. Here's Guthrie. Guthrie tripped down from behind.
Matthew Guthrie runs well. He runs behind his blockers and that, but really the running game for Findlay, at least this evening, has been with Ryan Montgomery. I'm sorry, I was saying the wrong name there. When you have Matthew Guthrie carrying the ball, he runs well, but Ryan Montgomery is the one who really has been the ball carrier tonight, gaining the positive yards.
2nd and 8. Little swing pass to Javonte Hill to the far side of the field. He won't have enough, but about 1.5 yards away from the marker.
Big catch and run there on 2nd down to create a 3rd and very manageable now. Once again, you just see Ryan Montgomery lower his shoulder, quarterback run design all the way. He didn't give the defense a chance to set up. Snap that ball quickly so that he could get his offensive lineman moving forward.
Able to convert to their own 43. 6 minutes now left in the 4th quarter. Three-man front for Olentangy. Here is Guthrie. Guthrie surging, regains his balance here, and they will finally catch up to him for his longest run of the night. Matthew Guthrie.
Matthew Guthrie doing a great job letting his blockers, once again, shows that he's a patient runner. He's not a slow runner, patient, and he lets the blockers get set up on the edge, takes advantage of it, hits that extra burst of speed about 8 yards downfield, like you said, for a big gain, his best gain of the night.
It comes in crunch time, too, when Findlay's trying to put away Olentangy Liberty and shoot away any chance of an upset. High snap. Over to Guthrie. Yet again, Guthrie trying to turn the corner. And look at the offensive lineman grabbing his shoulder pads and trying to launch him downfield.
Matthew Guthrie doing his best Ryan Montgomery impersonation there, lowering his shoulder after contact and running guys over. And one of those backs that appears to be getting stronger as the game goes on. And Findlay's offense doing exactly what they want, eating up quite a bit of clock as they're chewing up yardage as well.
And it was Brody Smith that grabbed Guthrie high by that right shoulder pad and tried to force him for a couple extra yards. 2nd and 5 from the Patriot 21-yard line. Montgomery with a stutter step. Can't break away this time. Hole closed rather quickly.
Bailey Bird able to make the tackle there, and you saw Deacon Billy kind of get a hand on him, the individual who Ryan Montgomery ran over earlier in this game. And so They are very grateful to get that tackle without letting him break another big one. But Findlay's still sitting good with a 3rd and 5 and 4-down territory.
4 minutes left in regulation. Montgomery taking a shot to the end zone. Intended for Ben Best.
Not going to matter.
There's a late flag that comes into play.
Well, not only there, but I was watching back. After Ryan Montgomery let that ball go, Carter Kuhn continued to drive him about 5 yards back and drove him into the ground out of frustration. And so we've got penalty flags on both ends of this play. The one for sure that I saw is going to be result in a first down as long as the other one is not offsetting if it's by the offense.
It looked like there was a little bit of tugging at that left arm of Ben Best as he was trying to make a play on that ball thrown in the back corner of the end zone.
I appreciate, we've seen some great officiating this year from our officials in high school football, and I love when they go, let's get it right. Let's have the conversation we need to have right now, get everything squared away, not rush the decision, because this is a big game. There's a lot on the line. Let's make sure we do it right. So I just want to say hats off to the officiating crew, this one as well as what we've seen all year long. It's a tough job out there for these guys, and they step up weekly.
Well said, partner. Multiple fouls here.
Personal foul, 34 with the defense. We also have a dead ball. Number 4 of the offense. Also a dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 14 of the defense. All those penalties were offset.
So they offset, and I know you may be questioning that. We definitely hear the Findlay fans questioning that.
Yeah.
They're going, wait, it was 2 for 1. They had 2 penalties. We only had 1. But if you know anything, when there's penalties on both teams, like it or not, this time advantage defense, because this should have been a fresh set of downs. Instead, it's now going to be a 3rd and 5. You play the down over. Or was that 4th down already?
No,
that was. Yeah, so it should be the down played over again. The officials are leaving it at 4th down.
Yes, they are. 4th down. Still on the field here. Officials.
Yeah. Coach Adams is calling
and he rightfully
for a timeout, but also calling the team here. So
we'll step away, take the break here. 3:54 to go. Don't go anywhere. Findlay takes their first timeout. It is 4th and 5 here for the Findlay Trojans from the Patriot 21-yard line. Watch 15 here. Ryan Montgomery. Too much zip and late pass interference comes in. The flag flying, and that pass intended to Jacob Ragland.
And you saw him fall awkwardly to the ground because the defender had kind of pushed him down, and not even kind of. And Findlay with a fresh set of downs, which I still don't understand everything that happened on the last play. I know that Coach Stephen Adams from Findlay didn't understand it either. Walked off to the sideline with disgust, and fortunately his team stepping up to make a play as receiver, getting tossed to the ground, and they're going to end up with a fresh set of downs here. So in the end, it all comes out to work out in the way that Findlay would want it to,
Right.
and
Just how they drew it up. Right?
just how they drew it up.
Just took a little bit of a detour, but they got there. It's first in goal.
Inside the Appliance Center red zone, the ball's resting right about the 11-yard line.
Montgomery trying to solidify a date in the second round of the playoffs. Here is Guthrie. Guthrie bouncing off of several defenders, carrying it across the 5 all the way to the 3.
Really nice job there by Guthrie, weaving his way in, running hard in this fourth quarter, doing a nice job helping his team keep running time off the clock, and he's gaining positive yards with every carry.
Liberty, they still have all 3 timeouts. They need to keep Findlay out of the end zone here, which Findlay down here tonight, they have been successful. And there's some movement here, I believe. And,
Yep.
You see it by Montgomery. He knew it, too.
Yeah, and we just got done talking about Matthew Guthrie doing a great job. He just rocked forward a little bit before the ball was snapped, and that'll cost them 5, and they'll back that one up. That just gives Ryan Montgomery a little more room to throw the ball down here.
Or
run. Wouldn't put that past him, would we, at this point of the game?
No, not at all. If they do elect to pass, it's been about a minute or so since we've heard Javonte Hill's name recently. But Guthrie getting stronger here. Here's the high snap. Guthrie trying to get loose, and he can't. Looking up here, and that clock under 3 minutes still running down as Liberty has all 3 timeouts.
Javonte Hill may have had a really good play a moment ago that doesn't get talked about. One of his linemen got pushed down kind of late, and afterwards he ran over and got between him and the defender to help him calm himself and not get excited. And we see flags coming out once again here
Against Findlay. Lost start. Back him up 5 more, all the way to the 12.
Well, if Findlay was trying to be content here and eat up clock and then just kick a field goal, they are quickly making this much harder on their field goal kicker to try to do just that. And so now they're facing a 3rd and 11. Got to believe this changes up the play call. Adding 18 seconds.
Holy cow.
Not sure what transpired there to add the 18 seconds.
That's a lot of time, especially in a one-score game right now.
When the trailing team has all 3 of their timeouts.
Yeah. Findlay's had success on 3rd downs for the majority of this game tonight. And now I think we're going to see a timeout called. No, another false start. Now, at this point, are they locking in on maybe some movement from one particular player?
It's just really unique that you haven't had hardly any called. We saw the one, very clear. That one, I watched the field a little maybe differently than others. I didn't see any movement whatsoever on that play, but not to say they didn't get it right.
Building the drama. Here's Montgomery just bullying his way forward, picking it all the way back up to the 6.
He makes it all the way to the 6, and if either of those false starts aren't in play, this is a 1st down, and we see Ryan Montgomery still on the ground.
That will stop the clock here with 2:27. We'll take the break with them here. It's Ryan Montgomery down on the field right now. Findlay 35, Liberty 28.
Timeout, 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28. 28.
Good news, Findlay fans. Ryan Montgomery stretched out. He leaped up, standing ovation, and quickly headed to his sidelines to get back in the game plan. He will have to sit out this play, but this looks like it is going to be a 23-yard field goal attempt.
So here's the question, though. Is Ryan Montgomery normally the holder for field goals? I don't know that, but normally your quarterback is the holder, and we see Matthew Guthrie in for the hold. So this may not be as easy as a field goal as it might have been.
And it is Graham Sprague to try and put him up 2 scores here with 2:27 remaining in regulation. From the far hash, there's a high snap. Guthrie has to go and get it. It goes between his legs. He can't track down the ball. Olentangy scoops it here. And they will take over the fumble recovery by Caleb Shoemate, and you hit the nail on the head. You talked about it, partner.
Shoemate picks that up, almost takes it the other way. Fortunate that Evan Hammer is able to make the tackle. But yes, that exchange, it was high to begin with, and Guthrie not able to pull it down in what looked like a 2-score lead for the Findlay Trojans, simply with 2:17 left. Becomes a very viable tying drive for the Olentangy Liberty football team.
3 penalties in a row that pushed them back. Remember that, 3 false starts in a row. And now Findlay relying on their defense to try and hold on for the win in the postseason. Andrew Leonard, empty backfield. Leonard, first play going deep downfield, and he misses his chance deep with Jake Struck.
One of the few times that he and Struck weren't on the same page. I saw Struck about 2/3 of the route, started to drop off. He was getting ready to hook inside, and he saw the ball released, and by the time he tried to hit the accelerator again, he was just too many steps behind it, and they weren't able to get that one completed.
Were you a little surprised that they elected on first down to take their chance, to go vertical downfield?
You've got a lot of time left here, and you can go down here and tie or go for 2 and go for the win.
Still with 2 timeouts, Struck in the backfield. Leonard looking right. Leonard now going back to his left. Crosses midfield. He will step out of bounds about 2 yards. Called a long 2.5, maybe 3. Coming for Olentangy Liberty.
Smart play there. If you're a linebacker and you're Coach Adams, I would have a linebacker spying Leonard, and he always runs to Struck's side. It's something that he's shown because that's where his outlet, his check down guy is.
3rd and a long 2 for the Patriots. They give it to Struck. Struck barreling ahead and leans forward, and he has the first down yardage.
First down in high school, the clock stops for the moving of the chains, and so Liberty here with plenty of time and a fresh set of downs on the 43-yard line.
This is an experienced group that has played together in the postseason all the way to the regional final last year. 144, Leonard, all kinds of time. Leonard uncorks it deep, it's bobbled and broken up. Israel Moore locked on coverage on Wilson Roberts downfield.
Moore in excellent position. Wilson Roberts, the ball a little bit high for him, had to go up for it, but Moore in position. Not going to let him get away if he did catch it, but a big 2nd and 10 now for Liberty. This is a Liberty team that's already experienced an overtime game this year, so this is not new territory for them.
1916 victory over Upper Arlington, which really got them in the postseason. Upper Arlington finished the regular season at 7-3. Leonard dropping back, turning to his left. He sees Struck there. Struck bobbled it and pulled it in. Would have been better advised.
Clock still running. He did not get out of bounds.
And it will run. It's under now 1:15.
Not sure if Coach knows that it's still running.
Yeah, a lot of time going off the clock here. Valuable seconds.
Could have used one of the 2 timeouts in that situation to regroup.
3rd and 6 for Andrew Leonard and the Patriots. Pass high, it's hauled in by Evan Nelson. Inside the red zone, all the way down to the Trojan 15.
Evan Nelson sits right down in the middle of the field. Leonard finds him with a huge completion to put this ball 1st and goal at the 15 inside the red zone.
1st and 10.
Clock's running. They're taking a lot of time still.
They still have 2 timeouts here. Let's remember that. Here's the soft completion, and it is hauled in, and his knee did go down. No, it said incomplete here. And that's not a bad thing right now. That's just
very fortunate for Liberty that was incomplete.
They will take a timeout.
It looks like they had to take. Now, one lineman's calling it incomplete, but the other two, it looked like he tipped that ball to himself.
That's what I thought.
And caught it as he went to a knee, which is why the coach took the timeout, is he knew that the clock was going to be running regardless if it's incomplete or they use the timeout. There's 31 seconds left in this ball game, in regulation time anyway.
How about Evan Nelson? First half, no catches. So they did call it a completed pass like we had called it.
Actually losing a couple yards because of the catch, and his knee hit right away. Smart play by the coach to call the timeout there, but now you've got one left. You've really let a lot of time go off the clock. You've got 31 ticks left, and you still have now 18 yards to go to put this one in the end zone.
A lot of time as they tried to march downfield after the botched field goal attempt to put the game out of reach. Corner coming up to blitz. It's Regal. Yarger got there. Evan Nelson with the catch.
Made the catch and got the first down, so the clock stops. You've got to get up on the ball really quickly. Even if you clock it right here for Olentangy, you got to get on that ball. The clock's running right now. They are down to 20 seconds.
1st and goal from the 4. 15 seconds. 14. They get it snapped here. It's deflected, and it is incomplete.
Again, a lot of time ran off. That's where you just want your quarterback to come up, clock the ball. You don't care about the down. You care about those seconds. And they let about 12 seconds run off there. Is that what it was, roughly?
Right around 10 seconds. The clock started with 20 and then took some time, and the clock ended up stopping at 10. So a lot of time.
A running play's not out of the question here because you still have a timeout. And so you could take Struck. You could get him all wide and still hand him the ball. You just got to make sure you call that timeout quick if you do.
Findlay really packing it in tight. Leonard wasn't ready for the snap. Scrambling around. Leonard gets hit from behind. 5 seconds, 4 seconds. They got the time and the timeout called with 3 seconds left. That is a huge play from Xavier Garcia, the sophomore.
This crowd is on their feet. They're loud. The only person that thought the ball should be snapped at that point was the center. As you saw, the entire offense, including Leonard, surprise the ball was snapped. And by the time they could respond, the defense, who watches the ball, that's what tells them to go. They were already in the backfield. Leonard had nothing to do but take that sack. Fortunate that they've got 4 ticks left on the clock.
How did Leonard even catch the ball? His eyes was pointed towards the sidelines, and it landed in his right arm.
Good news is your center, although he snapped it early, he snapped it accurately because it did. It landed in his arm. He was looking over to either the sideline or his receiver, trying to get set. And this is it. This is the ball game right here.
Findlay trying to hold on. They went up 35-21. Looked like they had this one in the bag. But Olentangy Liberty has marched down the field in the final 2 minutes.
This full stadium is on their feet. They are loud cheering on their defense.
Leonard dropping back for the game here. Looking to his left, has plenty of protection. Goes to the end zone. And it is caught for the score. Touchdown, Olentangy. It's Wilson Roberts hauling it in.
Roberts comes down with what might be his biggest catch in his high school career. The back of the end zone. As the clock strikes 0, they put the 6 on the point. This right now is one of the biggest extra point kicks for Brandon Scallion. We've already seen a missed snap on a field goal create disaster. That was for Findlay. Now Findlay's going to use a timeout here on this big extra point that's going to determine whether this game goes into overtime or not.
Timeout brought to you by Genoa Bank. Genoa Bank, they take your banking needs personally. We'll keep it right here so you at home do not miss a thing. Let's go back and talking about the time. We both thought, they let way too much time go off the clock when they had 3 timeouts.
And the hard part is, you know that the coach wanted John Sansbury, didn't want to leave Ryan Montgomery anytime. Who would? That's your biggest nemesis all night long. You don't want to leave him any time on the clock. And so I understand getting it down, but then all of a sudden you're choking off your own offense and being able to do what you want to do. And I got to believe Findlay, who's been putting pressure on Leonard and disrupting him, gave him way too much time. They didn't bring any extra pressure. They set the linebackers back, and he had time. We've talked about how headsy he is as a quarterback. He was able to read the defense and wait till Roberts got open to deliver that ball.
They will bring the offense back on the field, and they are going to try and go for the win.
Oh, this is a gutsy call. You end up in the playoffs at 3-8. Why not? You take Findlay down in round 1, a number 2 against the number 15. Why not?
Andrew Leonard trying for a walk-off win. Leonard gives it. Here's the double reverse. Leonard wide open. He has to wait, and he scores, and he flips into the end zone for the game-winning 2-point conversion with no time left, and they walk it off in an absolute stunner.
Olentangy Liberty just ran a double reverse throw back to the quarterback. This Findlay faithful are stunned. The Findlay team is just in awe, and right now Olentangy Liberty cannot believe they are beside themselves.
I want to give a call right now. There's several young men from Olentangy Liberty that have greeted the Findlay Trojans players and have hugged them instead of celebrating with their teammates.
They came over
out of their own way. So that goes a long way. That is a classy move on their part.
Really is. In a huge last play of the game to throw back to your quarterback, going for it all. I mean, you could have easily kicked the extra point, taken it into overtime, but you'd be taking it into overtime against one Ryan Montgomery. Great headsy play call. Even if it wouldn't have worked, I love the call. I love the energy, the aggression by Coach Sansbury, and it paid off, and these guys are going to continue playing.
And Ed, I don't think that Liberty goes for it if Findlay doesn't call that timeout. They had the special teams unit ready to go for it, and they called that timeout, and I think I saw Andrew Leonard kind of walk in there, maybe persuading the coaching staff, we're on the road. Let's go for it at the end of regulation.
Yeah, Findlay in their attempt to ice the kicker ends up getting the offense back on the field, and this is a dejected, you talk about it, it's your senior season. You're expecting to have a deep run into the playoffs, and you are stunned. And not only did Andrew Leonard take that ball across the goal line, he did it in a full-out flip. He knew. He was so excited he left his feet, did a full pirouette over the goal line to carry that ball across for one of the most stunning wins for them for sure, and what a stunning defeat for these Findlay Trojans.
And the ball was underthrown, and he had to come back and wait for an eternity. Here is now we select tonight's player of the game, brought to you by First Solar, leading the world's sustainable energy future. Join our team. Visit firstsolar.com/careers. Javonte Hill. I mean, we know what Ryan Montgomery did, but the performance that Javonte Hill had, first of all, last year, he missed the second half of the season with an injury. This season, he came back with the force, and he was a force to be reckoned with every week. Over 20 receptions tonight with three receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, Javonte Hill, the first Solar player of the game tonight in a losing effort, and that's when it stings. You're like, I'd rather have the win than all the accolades. And if he didn't set some school records tonight, I would be surprised, because very seldom, and we don't know the total count, at the end of the game. He had 18 receptions going into the fourth quarter, and he just continued to roll all night long. An offense that came out, looked sharp, but Olentangy Liberty doing what they said they needed to, and that is give Findlay's offense fewer opportunities by ball control offense. They did just enough, with no time on the clock, converting the 2-point conversion for the win.
An absolute shocker here in round one of the OHSAA playoffs. Olentangy Liberty 36, Findlay 35, your final score for our entire hardworking BCSN crew. My broadcast partner, Ed Bellner, I'm Tim Flagg, saying so long until next time.